What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. This is Ron with your second stimulus check update and second stimulus package update for Friday the 13th. Hey, really quickly, if anything has happened weird for you guys today, being Friday the 13th, drop me a comment down below. I know there's some superstitious people out there. I'm just really wondering, does anything really weird happen on Friday the 13th? But anyway, guys, today I'm going to be covering big news regarding the Trump and Biden election results overturn, and how that directly impacts the second stimulus check for the American people. And of course, I will be sharing with you guys the new proposal that could be worth $2,941 to Social Security benefits recipients, as well as those receiving SSI, SSDI, and railroad retirement beneficiaries. I've got so much important information to share with you guys, so you definitely want to watch until the end of this video. But before I get into it, I'd like to say welcome back to all my subscribers. I really appreciate you guys. And for those of you who are brand new to the channel, we cover all things personal finance, investing, and of course, stimulus checks and stimulus update related news. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to the channel and tap the notification bell so that you know as soon as I release new videos and content. And of course, it does take me a while to put these videos together for you guys. So if you don't mind, send me some love and tap the like button for me. I really appreciate that. And also, the Financial Freedom Program is going to be released and available in less than 24 hours. However, the 50% off coupon is still available. So guys, take full advantage of the discount while it's available because it will not last long. But anyway, let's jump into the content. The stock market is up 430 points, at least at the time of this recording, on the confidence that we're actually going to know exactly who our next president is going to be, as President Trump has lost his ability to challenge the Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania ballot outcome. In Arizona, President Trump's campaign dropped a legal challenge of a number of ballots in Maricopa County, saying that Biden's overall lead in the state is too large for the disputed ballots to even make a difference. And so essentially what happened here is that President Trump's legal team looked at the numbers and said, hey, candidate Joe Biden's so far ahead, even if we won this legal challenge here in Maricopa County inside of Arizona, it wouldn't even make a difference. So it's not even worth fighting. And then in Michigan, where Biden last week was projected as the winner, a judge declined a request by Trump backers to block the certification of election results to Detroit. Essentially, the certification says that, hey, these election results are legit and it finalizes things. And so apparently the judge blocked this request, and it looks like the Michigan election results are going to be finalized. And then we have Pennsylvania. Secretary of State Kathy Boockvar said that she has determined not to order a recount and recanvass of the election return in 67 counties. For a recount to be ordered, Trump would have to be losing by less than 0.5% of the votes cast. But since Biden's lead over Trump was 49.8% to Trump's 48.9%, so what's that, like 0.9% Biden's ahead? Anyway, as of Friday afternoon, the Keystone State, which has 20 electoral votes, so essentially because the gap between the two candidates wasn't narrow enough, the Secretary of State has declined to allow a recount for the elections. And so it looks like President Trump may actually be out of cards to play. And so for the many people who are still pulling for President Trump to somehow overturn the election outcome, it looks like it might be the end of the road. I mean, I've definitely tried to keep a very close watch on the election outcome, but it doesn't look like President Trump is going to be able to kind of turn this around. If you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments, but I just don't see it happening here. Candidate Joe Biden, or should I say President-elect Joe Biden's recent election victory could prove to be one of the biggest positive impacts for those of you who are receiving Social Security benefits, perhaps SSI, SSDI, railroad recipient benefits. This could be one of the biggest positive impacts for you guys, or maybe for family members who are receiving these benefits, maybe your mom, your grandmother. And in terms of stimulus, as a direct response of the pandemic outbreak, it looks like thousands of dollars will actually be headed toward the direct deposits, maybe even, in the form of paper checks, perhaps debit cards, ultimately to the bank accounts of those receiving Social Security, SSI, and SSDI. According to Shai Akabas, who is the Director of Economic Policy at the Bipartisan Party Center, he said we're long overdue for this conversation, and it's causing great uncertainty for people who are either on the program now or going to be on the program soon. That's not how we should be running one of the most important safety net programs in the country. And I gotta agree with him. I mean, I've always been told that Social Security won't even be around by the time I'm eligible to even receive it. So I totally agree. This is a conversation that should have been had a long time ago. And not even just myself. I mean, there are millions of Americans who depend on Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI benefits just to survive. And to be concerned about this program wearing out would stress anyone out. In fact, it's been said that the Social Security Administration projected in April its funds could be depleted. I mean, that is completely wiped out in 2035. That's only 15 years away, guys, at which point only 79% of the benefits would be payable. Now, keep in mind, those estimates did not take the virus pandemic into account. So that 2035 estimate might be a lot closer to maybe 2030. And apparently, even my conservative estimates were off. It says that recent estimates from the Bipartisan Policy Center indicate that in a worst case scenario, the disability fund could run out as soon as 2023 or 2024. I mean, just to give perspective, 2021 is going to be here in like 1.5 months. So we're looking at somewhere between potentially 2 and 3 years before this fund runs out. Something needs to be done immediately. Now, even though Joe Biden doesn't have any official presidential powers just yet, lawmakers in Washington are already taking actionable steps toward addressing this issue. Biden's Social Security platform includes some key benefit increases. Eligible workers would be guaranteed a minimum benefit equal to at least 125% of the federal poverty level. People who have received benefits for at least 20 years will get a 5% bump, and widows and widowers will receive 20% more per month. And to pay for the changes and to extend the program's solvency, Biden would apply Social Security payroll taxes to those making $400,000 and up. In 2020, only wages up to $137,700 are subject to those levies or taxes. Now, a lot of people have raised concerns about Joe Biden's plan to increase Social Security taxes, but I just wanted to quickly illustrate what this would mean for the American people. Now, according to Joe Biden's tax plans, income up to $137,700 would be taxed for Social Security. And that's the way that Social Security is currently taxing payroll. However, the modification of Joe Biden's tax plan comes in once you hit $400,000 in income and up. And so technically, Joe Biden's tax plan really doesn't affect anyone at all unless you're earning more than $400,000 per year. In fact, any payroll income that was earned in this blue shaded area here literally is just safe. So, incomes basically the rich, people who earn $400,000 or more per year are essentially going to be paying more in taxes to cover the Social Security deficit, so to speak. And these are not the only changes coming. In fact, Biden's virus stimulus plan calls for increasing Social Security checks by $200 per month during the pandemic, an idea that has been proposed by other politicians. Now, $200 per month, I mean, you figure even with the fact that vaccines are coming out early next year, you can't get vaccines out to every single person immediately. Not to mention, there are going to be many pockets of people who don't even want to take the vaccine. Many are concerned about the safety of the vaccine. A lot of people, question the validity, or, a lot of people have concerns that the vaccine may have other things in it that may cause other problems. There are lots of different schools of thought in terms of, the availability of the vaccine, how quickly you can get the vaccine out to people, and whether or not people even want to take it. And so the way I see it, Social Security beneficiaries, those receiving SSI, SSDI, railroad retiree benefits, could possibly be receiving $200 per week for the foreseeable future. I mean, I'm thinking at least a year. That puts you at somewhere around $2,400 per year, in addition to what you are currently receiving for Social Security benefits. And two House Democrats have separately proposed putting an emergency cost of living adjustment in place, which would bring next year's benefits increase up to 3% from the 1.3. And so according to usnews.com, it says that the average Social Security benefit was $1,503 for the month of January in 2020. It says that the maximum possible Social Security benefit for someone who retires at full retirement age is $3,011 in 2020. Now, assuming that this emergency cost of living adjustment were to be put in place, that would increase the average Social Security benefit recipient's income from $1,503 per month up to $1,548 per month. So on average, that's an extra $45 per month for those receiving Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, and an extra $541 per year. And so if you couple that with the additional $200 per month that Joe Biden is proposing, then the average SSI recipient would be receiving an additional $2,941 per year as long as this virus pandemic is going on. I mean, personally, I think it's about time that they finally do something about Social Security benefits for people. I mean, there are some people who are receiving so little money in terms of Social Security benefits, I don't even understand how they get by. I mean, it's really sad when you think about it. I mean, I think they need to even stop taxing Social Security benefits and just, let that money go untaxed. What do you guys think about that? Now, I'm not entirely sure if Mitch McConnell is celebrating his win in terms of being reelected as the senator of Kentucky. However, I do have an update with regard to Mitch McConnell, Chuck Schumer, and Nancy Pelosi, and the stimulus package negotiations are moving forward. It says here that Minority Leader Chuck Schumer and Speaker Nancy Pelosi on Thursday, just yesterday morning, said that the House and Economic Recovery Omnibus, the HEROES Act, passed by the Democrats in May, should be the starting point of negotiations with the Senate Republicans and the White House on a new round of virus relief legislation. Now, of course, the House of Representatives has given up a significant number of seats inside of the House of Representatives since the November 3rd election took place. Now, in spite of that, based on the elections for the House of Representatives, they're still going to hold a minority position. That's for sure. But they just don't have the power in numbers that they had leading up to the election. However, on the other hand, they have picked up a significant number of seats inside of the Senate. However, according to Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, the really big win is that America now has a Democratic president by name of Joe Biden. Chuck Schumer said that the HEROES Act should be the starting point, not an emaciated bill that prioritizes protections for corporations and considers the needs of the American families as an afterthought. He said that the HEROES Act passed in the House does meet this moment. It doesn't pick and choose who we're going to help during the greatest health and economic crisis in decades. Now, of course, the HEROES Act was $3.4 trillion, and based on what we've seen from the Senate, that's pretty much a no-go. However, later in the year, a couple months after the original HEROES Act was passed, a smaller version of the HEROES Act was passed by the House of Representatives, sitting at $2.2 trillion. And so hours after the press conference, an aide for Schumer said that the Senate leader was referring to the $2.2 trillion bill version. So while Chuck Schumer was referencing the HEROES Act, he was actually talking about the $2.2 trillion version. He actually had me concerned for a moment because I was thinking, if he's trying to push this $3.4 trillion HEROES Act again, it's going to end up nowhere. Nancy Pelosi says it's been our position all along to crush the virus, honor our heroes, put money in the pockets of the American people. She went on to say what Joe Biden got in this election was a mandate to address the challenges that the country faces, as well as to have a positive initiative on how to grow the economy in a fair way. And in order to do that, we must address the pandemic. So this essentially confirms that Democrats are still sitting at the $2.2 trillion number on the next stimulus package for the American people. However, Senate Majority Leader Mitch Mcconnell just yesterday morning said that a virus relief package in the ballpark of only $500 billion will be more than appropriate. This unwillingness to spend more money on behalf of the Senate is exactly why the American people have yet to see their second stimulus check. Mitch Mcconnell went on to say that my view is the level at which the economy is improving further underscores we need to do something about the amount that we put on the floor in September and October, highly targeted at what the residual problems are. Now, in spite of the fact that Mitch Mcconnell pushed through this very small, skinny bill that pretty much everyone just assumed wasn't going to pass, and it sure didn't pass, Mitch Mcconnell, since winning his re-election recently, apparently has had a change of heart. And according to Mitch Mcconnell just yesterday on Thursday, Mitch Mcconnell said on Thursday that Schumer and Pelosi are looking at doing something dramatically larger on virus relief. Mcconnell says, that's not a place I think we're willing to go, but I do think that there needs to be another package. Hopefully we can get past the impasse we've had for 4 or 5 months and get serious about doing something that's appropriate. A new Gallup poll shows that Americans would spend more this holiday season with $1,200 stimulus checks, according to this Gallup study. It says here that a fresh round of stimulus checks in Americans' bank accounts before the end of the year could provide a welcomed boost to retailers this holiday season, according to a new study. Now, of course, investors and the stock market would directly benefit from stimulus checks hitting the bank accounts of the American people because, of course, this will send people out to the malls to go out and do shopping, to do Christmas shopping, and, especially Christmas. Even if the politicians can't get their act together, it's a really sad state of affairs to think that our kids, maybe your grandkids out there, nieces, nephews, might not necessarily have the happiest Christmas, all because of politics. Assuming no additional government stimulus, 37% of consumers said that they are likely to spend less money during the holidays, while only 16% plan to spend more on gifts. Now, does this really come as a surprise to anybody? I mean, we're in the middle of one of the biggest pandemics that the U.S. has ever experienced. I mean, it's almost laughable that we even have an article like this being published. It goes on to say, however, assuming there is a $1,200 stimulus payment, the percentage of people planning to spend less falls to 30%, while those planning to dole out more cash on gifts jumps to 22% according to the poll, which is based on the online responses of 5,002 people from October 1st through October 9th. Now, first of all, it blows my mind that this poll would even be conducted. I could tell you this without even running a poll that people are likely to gonna. I could tell you this before even running a poll that people are likely to spend less money. I mean, if you've got record unemployment, you've got a pandemic, you've got lockdowns, and those who are still working are just thankful that they even have a job. Does it really come as any surprise to anyone that people are less interested in spending money for this holiday season? So it got me thinking, how much is a Gallup poll? I mean, this seems like a huge waste of money. So I looked it up. A Gallup poll, now check this out. The cost to conduct Gallup surveys is $15 per person for each employee that you expect to take the survey. Isn't this ridiculous? So you take this number, $15 per person for the survey. You guys see this, right? $15 per person. And there's 5,002 people who responded to the survey. So 5,002 times $15. So $75,000 was spent on this silly survey only to find out that people are less likely to spend as much money this year on holiday gifts than they were on previous years. I mean, really? Did you really have to spend $75,000 to determine this? I mean, this is just common sense, guys. But anyway, guys, that is all for this stimulus check update and stimulus package update. I will definitely keep a very close eye on any updates with regard to the second stimulus checks for the American people, as well as stimulus package updates and Social Security benefits. And don't forget, the Financial Freedom Masterclass releases in less than 24 hours. The 50% off discount is still available, but it will not last long. So be sure to take full advantage of the discount while it's still available. Link in the description down below, and I will see you guys on the next one.